What if Deku had the power of Steve? Now, before we get into this, we're gonna have two little mini segments, right? First segment is gonna be the introduction, and then also an update. And I'm just gonna do this at the beginning. Timestamps will be down below. So first, the business. I do want y'all to know at the time of uploading, I will have my Minecraft videos uploaded. You can go check those out, but also I'll have it somewhere here or in the description. But I'll also have a video of my world tour / channel update. This will be more of an in-depth kind of behind the scenes, because one of the things I realize is there's a big disconnect from when I'm able to record and what's going on, and because all you see is me either not uploading or you see me uploading. So I thought it'd be cool if I just made Minecraft videos while either doing something but also talking about it. And another thing to note is this is going to be the typical YouTuber shit, but at least hear me out. If you watch the video, this makes sense, but if you don't watch the video, I'll give a quick little example. This is very difficult because I'm doing it for the creativity aspect, but I'm also needing some feedback. I need feedback, I need likes, I need watch time and all that type of stuff. Because half the time I don't know if what I'm doing is even working. So by all means, help out on that regard. Now I'm not talking to like Nightwing or someone that's always watching. And from when I do be streaming, people always do be trying to support. So one of the things I can say is simply put, if you just watch the ads all the way through, you don't need to donate 1,000 billion trillion dollars. You don't need to do none of that. Little stuff like that helps out tremendously. Now that we got that segment out of the way, and if you want more detail or if you really do care, just go check out my Boss Cave Gaming, but I'll have a link down below. Let's get into the powers, because this is how we're going to structure this video. We're going to structure it like this. What if Deku had the power of Steve, followed right after what if Naruto had the power of Steve, right? And we're going to get to a certain point to where it's basically not the divergent point, but the point of interest. And then we'll go to Naruto, and then we'll repeat this process until we get done. Now, when I say we're explaining the abilities, I'm explaining the other potential ones. Also, feel free to throw in your 3 cents and what you think the abilities may be. Now, we got Power of Steve. Not going to explain that one because it's just Minecraft powers. But we will have to briefly go over some of the stuff for the other ones. So what if Deku had the power of the Nether? The same thing applies for Naruto, so pair them together accordingly. For example, he will, 1, have the ability to travel to the Nether, but it'll be a little bit different. He'll have the areas that he's able to conquer. He also has the ability to be resurrected. So anytime he dies, he goes to hell, so to speak, gets all his stuff and goes right back out. So he has the power of Minecraft, but only to the Nether. But with that caveat, he has special abilities that the Steve variations of Deku and Naruto respectively don't have. He has a couple of other abilities, such as he's able to summon, people from the dimensions and stuff like that, and also replicate some of their abilities, but that's neither here nor there. We also have the what if Naruto had the power of the end. This one's a similar aspect where he's able to utilize Ender Pearls. He's able to differently. He's not just using them. It's a little something special. He also, that variation has a transformation, but I think y'all could either 50-50 on the guess there. Then we also have the 2 special ones that I like the most, but not necessarily the ones I want to go over the most. I have my favorite one, but I don't want to tell y'all. I don't want to influence y'all. We have what if Deku is an enchanter? Basically, he just has the ability to enchant different objects and different things. But the thing that makes him special is he's able to enchant things with unique enchantments. I haven't fully worked out that ability to the highest degree just yet, but I do have the backstory and all that. And then we have the brewer, which he's able to make potions and brew potions. But I haven't fully mastered on how I'm going to do that one either. So by all means, if y'all have any ideas, especially after watching this video and stuff like that, by all means, tell me what y'all think. Tell me what y'all, which version would y'all like to see next. So the one I see consistently throughout this series will definitely be the one I focus on next, because we're going to get all of these to the point. And then after we do that, we're going to go into the next season of the story. All right, now that we got that part out of the way, let's get into what everybody really cares for. What if Deku had the power of Steve? All right, so now how we're going to start this story off is going to be nice, sweet, and simple. Deku wakes up 4 years of age. He sits there looking at his palm. He just sits there. In a daze, he almost doesn't like, he's almost surprised, like, oh God, I'm really here, like, what's going on? And then he thinks about everything and he's like, wow. He thinks about the last 10 years of his life. He remembers the rooftop after Bakugo's suggestion. He remembers all the experiences he experienced with Naruto and me and DK, and he just and the other guys that were there. And he just thinks like, wow, I'm back. And Deku immediately runs outside, looks up and says, this is gonna be one hell of a time. So then we would have a quick little montage, right? Your boy Deku, he's going to work, right? You see, bro, basically speed running Minecraft, right? And let me give you a quick little rundown of how this works, right? Deku has the ability to make worlds, or as we're gonna call them, servers, right? Or portals, but I like server because it kind of fits. So he's able to make servers. So he makes different servers with different difficulty, and he can make not unlimited, but he can make a lot, all right? So it goes like this: peaceful, easy, normal, hard, hardcore. Now, each level that goes up, unlike normal Minecraft, this is a rough number, but it's basically such as 1.5, 3 times, 4 times, and 6 times. So this is without fortune or anything like this. This goes for everything, right? Mob drops are better. Diamond ore, all of that stuff is better. Speed, agility, like all. Okay, maybe not the attributes, but like you get what I mean though. Like everything's better. Everything's happed up. But the difference here too though is zombies are a lot more ferocious and aggressive. Skeletons have a lot more accuracy and a lot more speed. Spiders, they don't just try to bite you, no. They shoot webs at you. They crawl. They make nests. It's very, very serious. And this is just the few mobs that I'm thinking of off top. We're not even going to talk about what's under that sea. We're not going to talk about none of that type of stuff. You feel what I'm saying? So with this being said, and this being the case in point, Deku got to work. All right, hold on. On a side note though, don't think too much about the mobs. I'm not gonna go too much off of Minecraft, but I will, but I won't. So just kind of bear with that. So Deku's off rip. He's grinding, right? He starts making different worlds and stuff, but like we're not gonna worry about the other ones because that's off screen. We don't need to worry about that right now. Deku says, "I'm gonna just do a hardcore world," right? He does that. He starts getting all this stuff, and he's realizing that this world's got a multiplier too, and it's a lot more severe. Now you may be like, "Oh my God, why is he doing that? Well, you know, that isn't that risky?" No, it's not risky. Bro just spent X amount of time with DK, Charles, and Lord James, for lack of better words, and Naruto in Minecraft. They went through all the different variations, all the different levels. He survived that, and he's gonna do the exact same thing. So he starts doing that. He does have a couple close calls, but he got what he really came for. He got a lot of his stuff. One of the things he did realize, though, is he's able to bring the stuff out of the server into his world, but he's not able to bring that stuff into another world. That's the only caveat. He doesn't like it, but he can make that work. So what he starts doing was, once he realized he had a close call, he got all these worlds, 3 respectfully for each little server. He got all these worlds set up, got most of the goodies going and stuff like that. So he's like, okay, we good. So now this Deku's ready. He's like, let me go take care of some business real quick. And he goes outside his house and he passes by his mom's little, you know, those little candles the Japanese people be having. And then like, he's like, and then he goes about his thing. And then he's like, and his dad's nowhere to be found. So Deku gets all of his gear after taking care of that prayer and stuff, scoffing at his father for not being around. I just want to keep this part kind of similar. And so he does all this type of stuff and he gets to work. He realizes something though. One, the time dilation in Minecraft is much, much different because we got it into the point where, 20 minutes outside is let me make sure, bro. Is 1 day. We got it to where an hour is 3 days. And this is good. That means I can sit here and grind all day, every day. This is what Deku's thinking to himself. He said, I'm going to get busy, right? So he looks at his house. He pulls out his diamond pickaxe and he starts to get to mining. And before you know it, Deku completely has his house looking spiffy. And it's one of those YouTube video tutorial kind of like things. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where you're just like, damn. And he, for lack of a better word, isn't in the best environment. Let's just say he's not in like the slums, but it's not a pretty environment, okay? But with this being said, he's got this taken care of, right? And then he's on a rooftop after he's gotten this done, eating some chicken. He's actually eating like some steak or something because like he took it out of there. He's trying to think. He's thinking of what he needs to do next, right? He still has the memories of when he was in this world for the last 14 years or whatever. And things did play out much, much differently. And he knows where the differences are from what he's currently living and what he did live in. Or what there any differences. He's not really sure too much. He's not trying to harp on those particular things too much. His mom did have some money saved, and the dad is still technically sending money, and he does have access to these accounts, so he's still able to take care of all that expenses. But realistically, he won't really need that much longer because he has access to everything. He has food, he has shelter, he has transport, he has knowledge. I mean, he has everything he needs, right? So he's like really trying to think, okay, what is my next move? How am I going to what am I going to do now? Because I could just start going crazy. And he starts thinking of people, right? But these people aren't in the best lighting, right? They're not like a positive thing. He's thinking them with more of a negative connotation, so to speak, okay? He's like, well, even as I am now, I can't take out someone like All Might as he just sees All Might illuminating, I am here. And he's like, I can't take down any pro heroes. I can't take down any villains. Wait, can I? Maybe I'm thinking too big, right? Because he still's got resources, stuff he needs to get. Because he's passively, for his hardcore world mainly, he's passively trying to make sure everything's good. In his hard world, at least one of them, he made sure they were good. Everything's set up. He's got all the farms going. He's got all this type of stuff going. And then he's like, you know what? I know where I need to start. He goes to his backyard, which is fairly spacious, right? And most of the places around him aren't really doing too well anyways. He goes to the backyard. He pops down an in chest. And he's like, he pulls out a glowing seed and he clenches it in his hand. He's like, thank you, Sensei. And so he digs up a little 4x4, throws the seed down, puts water all over it, and then just puts some bone meal blocks around it. He's like, now we wait. He leaves that be and says, I'll be back. He goes off and then he really just realizes something. He doesn't have to wait for anything. He doesn't have to wait to be aged because he started looking up some of the laws and he realized something. He realized technically he's not a vigilante if he goes out to help people. You're only a vigilante if you have a quirk and then you use the quirk without a hero license or without being given permission for one reason or another. Given the fact that he does not have a quirk, but he has the power of Steve or Steve's body, reminiscent kind of like Iron Body, he realizes that law doesn't apply to him. So he starts scheming. He starts getting all his gear in order. He makes sure, and he has 2 different in chests, right? One doesn't count towards his inventory. It's like special items that he was given before he was basically out of Minecraft. And then he has his normal in chest, right? So he's got shoker boxes full of food, potions, XP bottles, and all sorts of different little items. And he good. He's got rockets. He's got everything he would possibly need. He, for the first time ever in a really long time, which he has done in the world, but he's doing it in the real world, he sits up top of a roof. You plather his stuff on with that armor. He cracks his knuckles. He pulls out a sword, pulls out some rockets. He says, all right, here we go. he shoots out that rocket and starts flying everywhere, bro. Hey, this is real, bro. Like, just imagine, you're just in the air, you're flying, and you're looking around. And this is the best time because he doesn't need to sleep. Did we forget to mention some of his other attributes? He doesn't need to sleep. We're really talking about Steve, but like we're applying this to bro. No sleep is needed. He has a temperature resistance to some extent because theoretically, if someone stands approximately close to lava, you're going to either catch on fire or be exposed to extreme heat. Same thing applies with stuff on extreme cold. But anytime we play Minecraft, unless you're directly on the block or directly on it, nothing happens. Now with this being said, and now with this being the case in point, Deku could go on a hero string for years without ever really sleeping. Now he sleeps out of old habits, but that's more just to set his respawn point. But then again, he's like, wait, if I die, do I die for root? Those are questions to be asked, but until then, we won't worry about them. So Deku starts flying around and he starts just helping people out left and right. And people are like, who are you? Like, what are you? And I'm going to say that he's going to have a Steve mask, right? My bad. It was one of the special items that was given to him, right? It doesn't do nothing too crazy. It just boosts all of his stats by like a very small margin, but it's just like more of a morale boost than an actual boost. And he goes around helping people, right? No one can really stop him, right? And it's really like a thrilling experience because he stops a couple people from robbing. He goes through flying with his elytra. He's like, all right. And you gotta remember, he's like 4, so he's like real small. And people are like, what is this kid doing, right? And Deku's just like, let's stop what we're doing here, all right? And Deku is pulling up on these guys like, come on, calm down. Let's breathe. Let's relax. There's no need. And then, some people are like, get out of here. It's dangerous, blah, blah. He's like, be quiet. I know what I'm doing. And so they all charge at him, right? He throws up a potion up in the air and he's like, hey, just remember, I won. And he pulls out some smooth swordplay, right? One dude tries to like attack him or kicks him. He slices the leg off. The leg goes blood everywhere. Blood all over Deku's face. Deku does some crazy footwork. Another dude comes up. He slices that dude's arm off. And he's like, oh. They're all like basically in the same spot Deku once was. The leader pulls out and tries to he's summing up like some electricity, but he's rotating his arm. And so he's like, you dumb kid, you'll pay for that. Deku just manifests a shield and just and Deku's just locking him down. He switches to a bow. What is it? Not a crossbow. Yeah, a crossbow. He switches to a crossbow, and then he just the dude he's tapped out. So he starts rotating his arm again. The Deku says, "No, you don't." Hits him with the Turtle Master, right? Boom. He starts moving all slow and all heavy and stuff. And then as he looks up, he sees Deku, and Deku's just like, hey, I told you. He manifests as a shovel and just puts bro to sleep. Bro is slumped. He's like, all right, now that that's taken care of. Everyone's panicking for multiple reasons. So imagine if you just saw a 4-year-old kid come through and not only save your life, but he is disbowing and cutting off limbs of adults with power quirks, and your fear, you're scared. It's just not a good situation overall, okay? They don't know what to do. Deku was just like, what's wrong? And they're like, you just killed these guys. No, I didn't. They're like, what are you talking about? You cut their limbs off. What are you talking about? He points over, the potion that he threw up earlier comes down, splash. And it lingers. And it lingers. Their limbs just either it regenerates or the limb itself just gets reattached. The blood and all that stuff is gone there. They're scared. They don't know what to do. And Deku looks at them. And he's like, yeah, let me be safe. He doesn't pull anything out, but he manifests some cobwebs and just... The other guys start trying to run away. One dude makes it out of the building, and then Deku just runs up on the other guy. All you hear is... He crushes a potion of swiftness, and he just... And then before that other dude can run out, he just like throws some blocks, and those blocks basically traps bro, and it's just sitting. He's like, wait, what? And then Deku just pulls up behind him and says, hey, behind you. And then bro turns around, he doesn't see anything. He's like, wait, what? Deku's above him, and he says, go to swoop. Hits him with a potion, bro. Potion of instant harming, and it's just enough to make bro pass out. He basically cobwebs bro and just instant mines the Ascidian. Once he takes care of that, the other dude's running. He's like, he gets a lasso, a lead. He's like, all right, here we go. I've been waiting for this one. He flies. Dude's running, right? He's booking. He got some like speed on some beta type stuff, so it's a speed type quick. So he's like, there's no one that's gonna be able to catch me once I'm start running. I've already hit my max speed. And he's like, So what we running from? We're running from the Psycho Kid, man. Just a little wave, and then Dick's just he flies up to the sky, bro, with that speed of that elytra. He's like, hey man, have you ever went this fast before? And like, yeah, remember, he's still technically a kid, and so at least physically. So this dude's like, no, let me go. He's like, are you sure you want me to let you go? Because if I let you go from this height, you might die. He's like, I don't care, you're a psychopath. And I'm like, interesting, how am I the psychopath, but you were the one harming and threatening people? And he's like, we didn't kill nobody. You're right, but you did say you wanted me to let you go, so I'll let you go. Deku lets him go. He said, hey, just remember, as he's falling and Deku's just looking down on him, just remember, where you go next, it's not really up to me. He's like, what? No. Dude falls, but there's like a strange purple little portal that's like right where Deku took him, and then just, he falls through. He's like, where am I? And then like all these mobs start coming out and all these creatures. He sees like this black skeleton basically just full of like charcoal and smoke with swords coming at him, radiating this like weird like war. He's like, whoa. He sees a giant white creature screeching and crying, and he sees the tears, and he's like, no, everything's on fire. He sees these humanoid like piglins coming at him. He's like, no. He trips. He realizes that everything is so hot, and he's just sweating, and he doesn't know what to do. And then he sees the purple thing, and he's like, okay, I'll just go right back through there. He goes back through there. As he exits out, he realizes that he's in jail, and he's like, and then just one of the police officers is like, I don't know why this kid's... He starts breaking the portal, and he's just like, what? I don't know why I did that. He's so confused. He's like, why did that kid tell me to do that if anyone comes through or something? And then the dude's like, hey, just keep that kid away from me. I'll serve whatever time you need. Sweating and everything. He's scared. The other guys, they get arrested like normal. But Deku is having a blast, right? And then fast, quick and in a hurry, everyone's talking about the story of this random hero or kid, or where is his parents at? There's so many. Some people love him. Everyone's singing his praises. The kids, they love him. They respect him, you know. The people he saved, they obviously like him, because after he saved them and all, they all got pieces of cake. Like, they all got cakes each. They got some pumpkin pie. Like, everyone's happy. Like, hey, anytime he comes through, we're gonna eat, and this food is like the best. So imagine Sanji's cooking, right? But imagine that his cooking in comparison to the Minecraft food is like eating ration food. That's how good this shit is. All right. So everyone's happy about this, right? They're happy that whoever this kid is now, some people, the people above, right? Some people that control the hero system, not really rocking with all this type of stuff. They're breaking the norm and they're technically a vigilante and all this type of stuff, right? And then one of the things that goes through, right, is they caught him, right? They say, hey, can we get an interview? And he's about to fly off, and he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. Let me just take care of something, right? He's like, excuse me, let me change real quick. He builds like a little shack out of like dirt just for like the nostalgia factor. All you hear is like splash. He takes that down, puts the pickaxe or shovel away. It's like, all right. They're like, wait, where did you go? And he said, don't worry about all that. Just in case y'all are trying to set me up, I want to be prepared. And they're like, oh, okay. So Deku starts talking. They start asking questions. They're like, so wait, are you a vigilante, or like what makes you think this is right? Blah blah blah. What gives you the right to take the power into your law? He's like, well. First of all, I'm gonna need you to slow down. You're asking 5 questions. I can only answer one at a time. Second of all, I've never broken one single law. They're like, but you use your quirk. See, that's where you're mistaken. And this is what really shakes Japan, right? This statement alone. I don't have a quirk. All of what you see is my own power. I wasn't born with a quirk. I never had a quirk, and I may never will have a quirk, and that's okay. Just because I don't have a quirk doesn't mean I can't be a hero. One of the things, too, is I'm not All Might. I'm a hero better than All Might. All Might is a false hero. That alone, everyone hearing this, the ratings are going up. Everyone's tuning in. They're like, what? How dare he say this? And then, All Might's a false hero. He's giving y'all a false sense of security. Now, I know all of y'all are outraged. I know all of y'all are mad, saying who gives this young brat, this young kid, what makes him think he can say this? It's simple. As Deku pulls out some blocks and he starts building, but it looks like he's just appearing out of thin air, because he's still invisible, mind you, okay? And he does all this, right? He says, look at this, and then look at this structure. Cameraman, point up a little bit. There we go. And so all of this happens, all of this stuff is structured, right? And it shows 2 different ones, right? And one is fully structured, layered by layered, completely, perfect, right? He says, and he did this with sand, okay? Because other blocks wouldn't work by these physics, right? And so he says, look at this. So if I break one block from anywhere from here, he does it, but does it quickly, right? You see how the structure itself still holds integrity? Everyone's the announcer is like, okay, yeah, I get it. Okay, what's your point? Now you see this one, right? And they're like, yeah. Now if I take this one block off, the whole structure falls. And everyone's like, okay, I get what you're saying, but what does that have to do with anything? The second structure is what All Might's done. And everyone's like, what? It's simple. He put society up on his shoulders for X amount of years. This would work theoretically if All Might's immortal, but we all know he's not. No one's really paying attention to the minor details. How he's not as fast as he used to be, how he's been lacking a little bit in recent time for one reason or another. But regardless of the fact, let's pretend like none of that's the case and all of y'all just want to glorify All Might. I used to when I was younger too. But the announcers, they're in their head, like the not announcers, but the news people, they're just like, but you're 4. And he's like, I used to when I was younger, but when I realized that he has not actually helped society in a whole, he's coddled society. There's a saying that goes, weak men endure hard times. Hard times make strong men. Strong men create easy times. Easy times make weak men. That might have not been the exact same, but I think you get the point of what I was at least trying to illustrate. So with this being said, in case, All Might, you're a failure. You have failed this city And so after he gives like this powerful speech or whatever, and Deku's like, I'm not going to do as such. I'm going to build up society bit by bit, piece by piece. And it's going to take some time and it's going to take a little effort, but I can do it. There's not too many things stopping me. Now, everyone, and I mean everyone's in a frenzy. Everybody's trying to figure out his identity. Who is he? But see, there's a problem, right? One, he articulated his words too well, right? Two, he made a claim that he's quirkless. So the uprise of quirkless people actually vocalizing and speaking their truth has arisen, right? So eventually, after like a couple, like I'll say maybe like a week or two has passed, your boy is coming in off of a quick little excursion and he's like, oh, I'm alone on some rockets, or he needs to go back to his house for one reason or another. He's got a lot of people at his house. He's a little like, hey, what they doing? So he pops through on another side, puts all his like gear and stuff up or whatever, because he doesn't want to be caught. And so he pulls up. He's ready. Like he got his cursor, not really, but like he got his cursor, or like his little menu, he got his cursor right on his sword, right? He got his shield ready, like that. He ready, like he gonna put all this stuff on. So he walks up all nonchalant, and they all look and say, "Hey, we know your secret, right?" Like they say some ominous shit like that. Deku's like, "What y'all mean?" He trying to play it cool. He's like, "No, we know." So I should have looked this up before I did the video, but it's the quirk. Some people are quirkless here. Some people have really weak quirks, so they're basically quirkless. And then we also have people that are the monsters. I forgot what they're called or how to pronounce it. Hammerites or Meta. I don't remember what they're called, but basically people that have quirks that make them look like monsters. They're all in the slums because this makes sense. You don't get job opportunities. You're unable to work. You're unable to do all these types of things. It's going to be very hard for you to find work. And if you're not able to find work, you kind of see what I'm saying? So they're like, we know your secret. And you're like, what are y'all talking about? Like, they're like, come on, bro. We see you leave out every day, very fast, very quick. Even though he takes underground tunnels or he makes sure no one's watching. And like, this would be a quick little flash of like people, like some people with chameleon quirks, but they look like the like literal lizard. Some people with different quirks that allow them to like just blend in or not be spotted easily. As Deku's like either him launching off with his trident or flying off with his elytra, bro, or throwing an ender pearl, so MJ, and then throwing that bad boy and stuff. And like they all have a quick little flash. They're like, we know you're that kid, bro. And he's like, okay, so let's say I was. Deku stepping in a little bit, getting ready to go straight into a fight, and like he's ready. His hands are still in his pocket, and one hand's like, oh, a little ready. Like he's like, hey, what we gonna have to do here? He's a little terrified, and then they be like, hey, they one of the bigger fellows, right? His quirk is on there. Make up his quirk in the comments or something, unless I make it up during the video. He literally pops through and is like, hey, wait. Listen, kid, we don't want to fight. We don't have any problems. We just want to go off of what you said. He's like, what the fuck did I say? He started panicking. Then he started having flashbacks of what I've just said earlier. And he's like, oh, okay. And what that entail? He's like, well, we want to help you. We want to work with you because you said you don't have a quirk. That means you're quirkless, but you're this strong. So we want to follow that. We want to do that, right? And he's like, are y'all not tricking me? And then one of the other guy comes through. He's like kind of got more of a cocky vibe, but like you can see that his body is not the way it's supposed to be in one way or form. He doesn't know if he's injured or what. And he's like, look, kid, honestly, I don't even think all of us can take you. And even if we tried to surprise you, something tells me you'll somehow come back from the dead, even if we was able to kill you, all right? So look, we were just wanting to join you and see how that would work. And he's like, okay, bet. All y'all meet me at my house tomorrow. And he said, all of y'all meet me in my house tomorrow in the morning time. Then everybody, they all say okay, and they leave, right? And then like they start walking or whatever, and Deku's like, oh, y'all scared me for a second there. He looks, he says, oh, it's about that time, yep. And then ended pearled. He's like in a basement, right? And he's like in an underground house. And you see villagers lined up. And he's like, all right, let's see. Good trades. Okay, all right, we got all the trades we need. Time to get some emeralds, right? And then he presses a button. A herd of zombies come out, and he's like, all right. He basically puts himself in like a glass bubble, and then the zombies start going crazy. It's basically like a scene straight out of like a zombie movie, right? And Deku's just sitting back watching, like, eating some chicken or something, bro. Eating some steak or something. Just he's like, oh, they stopped. He clicks a button, and then like it's basically like a makeshift thing where like it pulls. Like it goes up and down with the glass, or like maybe like the glass panes. But anyways, long story short, it makes it to where the zombies aggro on them, but like not fully. So they're all coming, and then something opens and those zombies fall down a chamber of some sort. He's like, I'll use y'all later. Thank y'all for y'all assistance. And then he pulls out a whole bunch of golden apples, a couple of potions of weakness, and he gets to work. He splash. He's like, all right. And by the time he's done, you see him in another little area, another little section, right? And you see him with a library full of books. And it's like level mending, silk touch, efficiency 1 through. You get the point, right? So he has all this stocked up, layered up and stuff. And he's like, all right, that was a nice, good little 12-hour shift. Because he stopped early. He needed to get this done. He goes upstairs. Basically, he has like an elevator that takes him up to his house, right? He goes upstairs and then he comes out the backyard and he's like, all right, let me see. He looks at it, he sees the tree. One out of 2 or 3, I don't know yet, but 1 out of 2 items that boss did give him or DK did give him was a golden seed, but not any golden seed, a golden apple seed, but enchanted. Takes a minute to grow these bad boys, but oh man, they're much better than the ones we have in canon. So he looks at it, he sees a couple of these apples growing, he does his daily dose of bone meal, and he's like, I know these are gonna be good. He's just like, oh, I can't wait. He's been growing this for like a little bit. He's still 4. And so he gets all that taken care of. He's like, he pulls out his clock and he's like, yeah, that's about that time. He goes out, bro. He clicks a button, drops it down, and gets basically like going through a whole labyrinth of a way, and then he pops up at the front door, and he's just like, all right. And then he gets hit with a splash potion of instant healing and what is it? Basically, he gets hit with the whole 9 yards. Basically, regeneration, instant healing, swift. Strength, all of this he gets hit with, right? Because he's like, just in case they do try to try something, let me just be ready. They're all outside waiting, and he's like, this is like an hour earlier than anticipated. They're all just like ready. Some of them got like gear on. They're like, all right, what are we gonna do for our exercise? Like that. That's how some are. Some are barely up there. Why are we up this early? He's like, shut up. You can imagine like some kids or something, or like an older person. Kids, shut up. We told you to get up. We told you not to stay up all day playing Minecraft. And he's like, but I wanted to, or something, right? Now, Deku's just like, wow. What are we doing here early? They said, well, hey, we serious. They say, hey, what you tell us is true. You really don't got a quirk, and your power is like this. We need. Basically, they're telling him like, hey, you're gonna be the savior of quirkless people. You're gonna be the savior of people with quirks that make their appearance look a little different. Like, you could literally save us, kid. You can be our voice because we see the hypocrisy of all these heroes and stuff. So he's basically staying before staying is staying. Okay. Now, with this being said, and this being case in point, Deku's taking it back a little bit, but he says, all right, just, I hope y'all are ready. This will be hard. He's like, do any of y'all got work? He's making a joke because, like, most people here don't really get to work, and they're just like, no. Everyone says it kind of innocent. No, we get a couple days off. He said, perfect. Approximately speaking, about like a week is almost a full year in real time. Well, no, 5 days in real time is almost about a little bit over a year, roughly speaking. I'm doing rough math. So he's like, all right, bet, I'm gonna put y'all through the ringers. He said. And so what he ended up doing was he put them into an easy world, right? He opens up the portal, or we can say the portals are always active. It's around. And so he's like, all right, let's all go, right? He basically organizes people based on like what they're good at, right? He's like, hey, do any of y'all have any special skill sets? Long story short, he starts organizing his people, right? He tells them like, hey, for some of the elderly people and some of the people that can't move, I want y'all to go to these portals. Don't worry, I'll take care of everything. Y'all just wait for me. He tells some of the more older but still physically able people, y'all go to easy. And then he tells basically the young boys, the young adults, the young ladies, people that are in good physical shape, he tells y'all like, hey, y'all are gonna go to hard because I gotta teach y'all. He even gets some like the younger kids because it's an anime. He gets even some of the young kids. Y'all are going in there too because y'all need to learn immediately. Like I don't want none of y'all to play. And one of the young bucks, they're like, what about that one? And it's like literally like a singular portal, and it just says above it hardcore and like really like disturbing letters. He's like, he grabs the kid by the collar and says, look at me. Don't go in there unless I expressly give you permission. Do I make myself clear? And the kid's like, yes, sir. He's like, all right. Throws him the hard one. He's like, all right. So we'll have a little montage moment, right? He goes with the elderly people in the peaceful/easy one, or you get what I mean. And he's showing them, hey, look, this is all I need y'all to do. I just need y'all to farm, get the cattle, get all this type of stuff. And he's going through all of this. So it's like a whole Minecraft guide in like minutes, right? And they're just like, oh, okay. And so for everyone else that's waiting, basically all that's happening is they're just kind of in like the spawn area, right? But Deku, as I told you, he made sure these areas were already good because he anticipated such an outcome at some point. And so all of them are chillaxing, just kind of chilling, like they just eating food, like they was hungry or whatever. And then they literally signed saying what stuff is, do not go past this point. I promise I will kick your ass if you do, right? So Deku does that with pretty much everyone. He goes to the normal difficulty, normal and easy one. He explained it to them like, hey, y'all are gonna be fighting these mobs. And he goes over all of the stuff you need to know, like, hey, this is how you kill, this is how you fight. He teaches them some very basic swordplay, and he has areas designated for people to do this stuff because he didn't fully do the world. He just like basically imagine you got a world and like a good sum of stuff was done. Like you got a food source, you got like maybe a farm or two going. Nothing crazy, but not enough to like not enough to get you straight to end game, but not enough to where you're just like, I just started in the world, I have nothing. You know what I mean? So he tells them what the responsibilities are and what they're going to be doing, right? And he expresses this to all, but we're going to explain this part later. But he says this to all of them except the one in Peaceful, maybe the one in Peaceful too. And he literally gets to the hard one and he starts explaining to everyone. He's like, hey, I'm going to spend the most time with y'all because y'all are at the most risk, okay? So quick little montage of him training up a lot of the younger ones, and he's, being brutal with them and stuff. They're training, they're trying to like wield a sword and stuff, and it's very crazy because he's laughing. I'll say he uses his sticks because he doesn't want to really cut them, and they're using like a wooden sword or something. So after he like beats up the kids on some anime stuff, he just and I want you to know when he is in Minecraft, everyone's body is pretty much about the same, right? So he and then like before the fight even started, he threw up a potion, right? He puts the shield away, and then like he walks away, and then they're all just like on the ground, and then that potion falls, and they're all, oh, come on, Deku. Why did you go so hard on us? And he's like, trust me, you'd rather this than when you're out in the caves. And he says that with like a serious face. You'd rather this than the caves. As Deku has some flashbacks of like seeing DK and Charles, and he remembers being in the deep dark and the pain that they felt. And like you would just see like a flash of like me just saying, in subtitle, don't say anything. And then you see someone running off in the distance, like in the Minecraft animation, just to make it more perfect. And then on the screen it says such and such, but that part's blurred out, I guess. And such has been killed by the warden. And then you just see blood everywhere, and just you see me screaming, and then Deku's just like, but DK is covering Deku's mouth while he's like, and then all you hear is, Mister, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm good. Just go to wash up or something. But Mister, we don't need to shower or nothing while we're here, right? He's like, But one of the older sis of their group or whatever is just like, hey, just come on. You don't want to bother Mr. Deku, Mr. Midoriya any longer, do you? He's like, okay, sorry. He's like, and then they walk off, and he's just like, ooh, fuck. Sweating a little bit, thinking about that traumatizing moment. He's like, okay, I'm good. And then the big guy that I talked about earlier, one of y'all give me a name for the big guy. He's not important, but he's important. He's like, hey, boss, could I talk to you? He's like, what did I tell you about calling me boss, man? And he's like, hey, look, you're the boss man. And he's just like, stop calling. If you call me boss man, as he's saying all this stuff, he starts having a flashback, and this one's a very brief one, and he's just like, you see me just moving with my sword. He's like, and then you just see Deku with a notebook, but it's a Minecraft quill book or something. I think it's a journal, and then he's just writing notes and stuff. And then Deku's just like, hey, Sensei. Deku, what did I tell you about calling me Sensei? Just call me DK or call me boss. Sorry, Sensei. Hey, old man. What, Naruto? Why does he keep calling you Sensei? I don't... Deku, if you call me Sensei again, I will beat you. But Sensei, okay, I'm sorry, Sensei. I won't do it anymore, Sensei. And then you just see a comedian moment of like Deku getting chased. He said, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. Tears coming out of Deku's eyes. No. Let me talk to you. And then Naruto's just like, I wonder what their problem is. And then the flashback ends, right? And then Deku just thinks about it, and he's just like, yeah, that tracks. What you want to talk about? He sees all the people, like either some people are like mining up, like they got like, one of the things people do in Minecraft, right, is they'll get like a whole, I do this personally. If I have like 2 pickaxes, one with Silk Touch and one with Fortune, I'll use my Silk Touch pick, build up a pillar, like once I'm done mining, build up a pillar, and then use my Fortune pickaxe, right? So you see some people up in the distance doing just as that. You see some people feeding like the cows, sheeps, chickens, and all that type of stuff. So you see everyone doing their own thing. You see some people at a creeper farm or whatever. You see some people at an iron farm or whatever. And it's just like you see it all, right? And he's like, let's actually step outside. He's like, oh, for real? Yeah. And so he steps outside, right? And then he's like, they basically like, can we go up to like a rooftop or something? And then Deku looks at him and says, you just want to fly with Elytra, don't you? He's like, maybe. He's like, maybe. So they put their Elytra on, they put some armor on. He puts on a zombie mask or whatever, and they fly up, right? They fly up to a rooftop or whatever. They basically spend like a good little time because it just was about to become night, right? So they spend a little time just kind of cruising in the air or whatever and just like really having a good time. They're like, and Deku's showing off just a little bit, but he's like, hey, look, let me show you something my mentor, my sensei taught me, right? He starts, he basically just flying around, right? And then it starts raining, right? He said, oh, hey. He's like, they're basically flying or whatever, right? And like, but like you could always see passively like the descent down until they use another rocket or something. He's like, hey, you got a train on you? He said, yeah, boss, I always told you I was gonna keep one on. You always told me to keep one with Riptide enchant, right? He's like, yeah, watch this. And he says, hey, you want to go to the USA or whatever? Or like, I won't say the US, but like somewhere really far or whatever. He's like, that's way too far. Even with us having a Elytra at full, enchant, we won't be able to do something like that. He said, watch. And then and then Deku just, and then it's like, you just see all the, like, where he was outlined with the water falling and stuff. And he's like, wait a minute, does that mean? And he, you can see like the face. And then so they're just flying at incredible speeds or whatever. They were just like almost darn near in the atmosphere, not really, really like they're really high up. So long story short, and the deku just starts, and then like they start descending down while just kind of cooling it or whatever, right? And they're like, hey, is that why you told us to do it? He's like, yeah, honestly, with as long as we've been in the world, I'm surprised it doesn't really rain that often. And he says, yeah, I'm surprised too. But yeah, that's why I told y'all to get that Riptide enchantment. He's like, well, I'm glad I listened to you, boss. And listen, you dude, he's like a little bit older, like we could say maybe in like his 50s. He's in that, he's past Unk status. Like he's up there, right? And he's like, so do you want to talk about it while we descend, or do you want to talk about it once we on top of the roof? He's like, once we're on top of the roof. He said, all right. And then so they both, and then they just start going down or whatever. And then they basically get at like a top of a really good roof. We'll even say they traveled somewhere completely different, like New York or somewhere, right? And they're just like kind of cooling it or whatever. They like put a little campfire down, bro. He put some raw, some like cow or like, it could be any meat of your choice. I'll just say some chicken. They put some chicken down or whatever. They get some milk or whatever. And they, all right, so what you want to talk about? They're like, he's like, hey man, one, I would like to say thank you. He's like, okay. And he's like, two, do you think you could do better than what you're doing? It's like, what you mean? Are you saying I'm like doing bad or something? He's like, no, nothing like that. Have you tried to see if there's other people? He's like, what do you mean? Think about it. We're all trained up for the most part, right? Like we all understand what we're doing, and when you told none of us to go into hardcore unless we're able to conquer a whole server by ourselves respectfully, right? He can also reset the servers too, but that'll be important later. And he's just kind of like, okay, so what are we getting at here? He's like, well, there's a lot of people that need help. There's a lot of different places that need help. Why don't we just start our own civilization? He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I keep forgetting you did tell me you were 14 at one point in time. That life didn't go so well. You went to this weird place and then you came back. So that would technically make you about 18, including or discounting whatever years you lived while you were in this pocket dimension of sort of speaking. It's like, yo, well, technically, yeah, because I didn't age. I just grew in experience. He's like, yeah. So you never really experienced life. Okay, cool. With that being said, why do we stop here? Why don't we just build up the neighborhoods? And he's like, I'm not about to go out of my way to go against the government. He said, no, you're not going against the government. Is it really that bad of a thing to help people out? And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, think about it. Our neighborhood, for example. How do you think these people would feel once they actually get out of the world? Because they're in the servers or they're in the realms for like a good little bit. Like they're all getting like materials and stuff like this. They're enjoying it because it's a peaceful experience for most of them, except the ones in like normal, hard difficulty or whatever. Even the one in the easy difficulty, it's kind of like the training wheels. And so they're like, you could easily tear down all this stuff. I'll even help you out. We could rebuild, the city. We could not the city. We could rebuild our like little like slum neighborhood or whatever. And what if we did this for everywhere? He's like, You know how there's a lot of other people. I was a vigilante for a couple of years and it didn't really work out too well. So with your power, we could easily help all these people. You know how many quirkless people are out there? People that went through the same struggle that you went through? You know how many people that have these quirks that make them appear ways that they really aren't, but people judge them anyways? He's like, yeah. You're thinking about a friend. He's like, yeah. And then we're not even talking about those people alone. Think about people that have weird quirks. It's like, weird quirks? Like, I remember hearing something somewhere. It was some time ago. The time relation with the world, the realms, and then also being out is just kind of weird. But hear me out. He's like, okay, whatever. Literally, there was about a girl or something with blood, or she had an issue with blood or something, and her parents are really rich, and they wanted her to act normal or something. Yeah, I don't really know what that's about. And he's like, oh, okay. But anyways, her quirk make her need blood for one reason or another. I don't know what that's really about, but that's my point. What if people have quirks that are really hard to control? And it's like, huh, I never thought about it like that. What if you're able to make either out in real life or in your realms, you can make environments for them to try out these things. Didn't you say you were able to modify how the realm works to some extent? He's like, yeah, to some extent, but I haven't really played around with that attribute of it. He's like, hey, look, it may not be a quirk, but that doesn't mean you can't stop training it. And he's like, okay. And then Deku starts thinking about this. He's like, all right, bet. So let's go get some supplies. And basically, they have a system. It works kind of like another portal, but it's a little different. Once people get us X amount of supplies, which it works like this. Once people get X amount of supplies or whatever they're doing, they put it in like a chest, and that chest goes, this is something Deku already did. The chest goes out into the real world, and then that goes into a collection system, right? How it works is, out of this sum of what they get, they do about 70% of that goes to the collection system where Deku's going to utilize it for real world things, right? Then I'm trying to see the 10% of that goes. I'm trying to get the math right. Yeah, 10% of that goes back to the neighborhood area, wherever the area is at. So they all have their own circulation of food and all these other things. For the people that don't want to do it or can't do it or was scared or whatever the case may be, the other 20% is for the own person themselves to keep, right? And it's an honest system, but these people are coming from being rejected from society. But then this measly 4-year-old kid comes through and says, oh, okay, y'all need my help? I got you. Because he could have said no, but he didn't. So they all have undying loyalty for bro. And he's also a good leader, okay? So with this being said, they got that system going. So him, big brawling uncle over here, and Deku, they look at this area. They make a border, right? Like a little border. It's kind of nothing like crazy or nothing, but just like a gated fence almost. They tear everything down. They make it basically barren wastelands. They start building up this house, making it into some neighborhoods. You know, like in your Minecraft worlds or videos you see where like people have it to where it's like it's a neighborhood or like a hotel or something. That's what they do. Deku basically makes like a 100 by 100 or something or 200 by 200, like a big circumference. He goes underground, makes beacons or whatever, and he makes these beacons. And it has beacons littered everywhere, and then he redoes the form. He tells the people that like the I say civilians. He tells the civilians like, hey, listen, I need y'all to like go in here, and they're like, we really don't want to. I'm like, don't worry, it's peaceful. You won't really be damaged. There's already people in there. These people, for these older people, they're like the boomers, the older people that still need to work, the people that got too much time on their hands. So some are just fishing, some are just, it's all peaceful like activities, right? So he tells them, y'all need to go in here. We're gonna do this. Don't tell anybody. It's a surprise, right? So him and big bro like Unc, they're all taking care of business, right? So by the time they're done, bro, this is like, I can't even describe because it's like too many elements, right? There's so many different houses. You got the house here, you got the little pond here, you got a couple more houses here. You got the cherry blossoms, particles. You got like a little horse stable. Like you got all these little different places, and you also got all these different places for food and all that type of stuff. Remember I was talking about the filter system or the storage system? Him and the big brother Unc, they all got that stuff organized and sectioned, right? To where it's filtering out to certain spots. So they got like a KFC, like when some people make like restaurants and stuff. They got actual restaurants with all the stuff on the menu. And then you pay with emeralds, right? The emeralds are getting paid out by the people that do the stuff in the world. And then, like, for example, in the peaceful one of the things that a lot of the elderly people are doing is they're prioritizing making sure they're doing trades basically daily. And then they also do trades to the best of their abilities, right? Now, for the ones on easy, one of the tasks that they're assigned to do is trading too, but they also have to do the zombification trades. When it comes to trades and stuff like that, I'm not gonna make it too much of a difference. The only thing I'll make probably is it's cheaper, but once you do a zombification once or twice, you got them down to like one emerald for mending, one emerald for XP bottles and stuff like that, right? So we got some of like the salesmen's back in the day. We got all these types of people that are doing these activities, okay? So with all these activities getting done, they have a surplus of emeralds, right? And those people that do these jobs are getting paid to do these jobs by emeralds. Emerald is the currency of this like basically new gated community. Him and Unk does it. They get all this stuff ready. Deku pulls up his not command block, but he pulls up the chat. He tells everyone, I need y'all to come out of the servers now. And then he also puts in parentheses, none of y'all are in trouble. Mark, Simon, such and such, don't be scared. As he says that, this all pops up for everyone in there. And then like Mark, Simon, these random kiddos or whatever, they're like, that made us scared even more. So they're shaking, shimmer my timbers, right? They all come out of the server respectively, and Deku has a portal. But I'll say he has like the realms in like a secure spot, right? And no one can enter without his permission. Like they have to be his friend or join his party. There's a portal. They go through the portal. Everyone knows what the nether is. And for some of the civilians, they're kind of scared. They're like, I don't want to go through like that. They're just like, yeah, right? And so they got some like the kids or whatever grabbing some of like the older people or whatever, or like the middle-aged ladies that just really don't, right? They're grabbing them. They're like, don't worry, Mr. Deku, Mr. Midori, I'll just say Deku. Mr. Deku made sure everything was really safe, so you won't even know it's a really scary, fiery place, because they were doing it, right? So they all go through the portal, and this one looks more like a sleek design. It's completely blocked off. You don't even see a lick of the nether. You don't even know. And then signs are telling them where to go. So they're all going, whatever. You see some people which they phase through each other. So I guess that's going to be a Minecraft thing. And he turned PvP off anyways. So they all like go through or whatever, and they're just like bloop, bloop, bloop. And some people are on horseback, some people are on Lytra, while like the older sisters like, hey, y'all stop that. If y'all get damaged here, I'm not healing y'all again. They're like, it's okay, we got it. Is it cut? They fall down. They're like, oh, they're like, see, I told you. You got to be careful, because did you even set your spawn point here? They're like, no, see. And we don't even know, y'all. As like all the older people are just walking like, there they go again. Long story short, they get outside, and then Deku's just like, welcome to my city. And it's Minecraft above. And he's like, I don't have a name for it yet. I would like y'all to give me a name for the first city. I don't have a name for it yet, but I would like to thank all of y'all for being loyal to me, for all of y'all helps, for all of your appreciation, also for all of your hard work and diligent due diligence, okay? And now we have places for the civilians, because a lot of you do have families and some of you may or may not, right? I want to make sure y'all know some of y'all can even work here. He shows like the food place, and stuff is kind of like dark, but not dark. And Unk basically goes around flying on everybody, throwing like some potions, right? Like when he throws milk buckets to everyone, everyone picks it up. That's like knowing what they're doing. They're ready. They're like knowing something's about to happen. Throws a night vision potion on everyone. We'll say some of the stuff is covered, so they don't see it all. They just see Deku. And like he's got glowstone around him. He's just like, I would like to thank all of you for this. This is my way to show appreciation. We got jobs here for everyone, even civilians alike. I have this area completely like covered off with like, traps and stuff to where people have to ask for permission to come through. He has people stationed there, or he will have them. They will also get paid with emeralds here. He's explaining all this to them. But enough of that. Let me show you our new city. And don't worry, we're not paying the government a dime. Why? Because everything's powered by redstone. For the people that know, they get it. And for the people that don't know, he's like, don't worry. Redstone is a courtesy of yours truly. And Deku says, all right, now if all of y'all can drink your milk buckets, and let's get this show on the road. Everyone, we're going to party tonight. Everyone drinks. Deku hits the button. Rockets shoot out everywhere, all different clutters, and everyone's like, whoa. Like, do you see some of the older people? Oh, we're gonna get get drunk tonight. Some of the kids are like, yeah, apple juice. It's a good old time. Everyone's stoked. Everyone's happy. Everyone's excited or whatever. And then you just see like the Minecraft thing light up and you see Unc on top of it. But like he's kind of like off to the distance. He clicks a button. It lights up or whatever. And every rockets are going everywhere. And he's just looking at the kid just like, hey, he's like, that kid is really something else. Man, I'm going to follow him until the day I die. Everyone's excited. Everyone's partying. Everyone's having a good time. And then some brief time passes later, and then Deku looks at a Big Unc as like everyone's either like still drinking or passed out or whatever the case is. And he's like, I think I get what you're saying. I've thought about it for sure. We're basically gonna spread our influence. We're gonna go everywhere. And he's like, that's what I like to hear, kid. He's like, oh, you didn't call me boss this time. He's like, you're right, my fault, boss. He's like, I'm sorry, Sensei. God damn it, I did it again. I was like, what are you mumbling over there? Nothing. And so he starts thinking about it. And he's like, I'm going to have to go around. He's like, yeah. As he says this is the takeaway note. And Deku starts thinking, he's like, yeah, I remember there were some people, Urakas, I think there was. I heard about them. I remember in my last life, I heard about them, and then I also heard a little bit about them. They just started up a construction company of some kind or whatever. It's been failing, but I wonder if I could help them out or not. He's like, see, look at you. You already got some. He's like, yeah, there's a couple of other people I need to go check up on, but I think honestly just flying around and just seeing what the world tells me. He's like, yeah, you got to use that status of being a hero. He's like, I'm not a hero. Oh, right, I am a hero. He's like, wait, you haven't been keeping up with the news? You haven't been keeping up with the news? He's like, what news, man? And he's like, oh, man, you might want to see this. Article is just talking about the world, the next All Might. He's secretly evil. Like, he's just all sorts of articles and people talking about it. He's like, oh, God, no. And then, like, they're just like, kid runs, Mister, look, you're on TV. And it just shows him, like, saving some people, bringing some food, just like some minute stuff that he did on a whim, right? And he's like, well, if people are already trying to paint me as a hero / villain / vigilante, we're going to have to get some stuff going. That's where we end the video off here, kiddos. Now, for the people that stayed all the way to the end, hopefully we watch all the ads. Hopefully we liked, hopefully we comment. All good positive comments will be necessary, needed, all that type of stuff. Need a little motivation to keep going, but also I need to know that y'all are rocking with what's being done here. I realized something that I could do an hour every week video, something like that. I can also kind of gauge it, make it a little bit longer than what I would have. I would have did a little 30-minute, but I felt like if I did an hour long, it would be more of a something that people would like. I wanted to wait on this story, but I felt like I had enough to at least get it started. And with the support of all of y'all, I'm pretty sure we can get a good sum of this done. But for any of y'all that made it this far, I would like to also note that y'all can easily decide on what the next events in the story happen. Y'all can insert yourselves into the story. Y'all can be some random people that are getting trained up by Deku. Y'all could be many different things. So y'all can throw yourself in there a little bit. Remember now, I'm the only guy that puts you on YouTube, all right? Pretty much with that being said and done, go check out my gaming channel and stuff like that. I'm going to catch y'all later. I hope y'all fuck with it.